that is beneficial at times and harmful at times. There are times when you seclude yourself from society and it's beneficial. And there are times when you seclude yourself from certain matters and it is not beneficial, right? Imam Ibn Waziri has a book called Al-Uzlah. It's from the 9th century. He's a Yemeni scholar. Al-Imam Al-Khattabi has another book called Al-Uzlah as well. It talks about seclusion and when should you seclude yourself and when should you not. Alright, there are times when you should seclude yourself and there are times you should not. But here specifically, these two matters, women and flirtation, and add to it music. And this goes for the sisters, the opposite gender as well. Same thing. Goes both ways. Alright? That's wisdom number one. What's wisdom number one, brothers? Completely seclude yourself. That bab, just close it. Unless you're doing it the halal way, which is marriage. Everything else, close it. Secondly, وَقُلِ الْفَصْلَ. The second wisdom is وَقُلِ الْفَصْلِ. Say something that is short and straight to the point. Don't be a thought. The thought is someone who speaks a lot. Just talks. 15 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, talking the whole time. Stop talking. Don't talk too much. The more you talk, the less your speech has value. The more you talk, your speech has less value. So speak less. And the Prophet ﷺ, he used to speak so slow and concise. Aisha says of the Prophet ﷺ, كان يحدث حديثا. He used to say speech. إذا لو عده العاد لأحصاه. أو إذا عده العاد لأحصاه. If the person would count it, they would be able to do so. That's how concise your speech is. The Prophet ﷺ. So we should emulate the Prophet ﷺ. So the second wisdom is don't speak a lot. Treat yourself to not speak a lot. The third wisdom is وَجَانِبْ مَنْ هَزَلَ. Do not joke around too much. Don't be the one who's always what? Life is serious. Any one of us could die at any moment. And then it's either Jannah or Hellfire. It's one of the two. So وَجَانِبْ مَنْ هَزَلَ. It's okay to be light-mooded every once in a while. Never. We can't be joking all the time. So avoid joke. Take life serious. Don't take life as a joke. And in the TikTok era, where everybody's just swiping, swipe, 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 every other video is funny. It gets you in the mood. So that affects you. You start taking everything very lightly. Right? So don't take things lightly and don't joke all the time. Be serious and make sure your speech is concise. Fourth one. قال ودع الذكرى لأيام الصبا ودع الذكرى وودع الذكرى لأيام الصبا فلأيام الصبا نجم أفل. Wisdom number 4. Brothers, you guys are with me? I don't know if it applies for some of you guys, but I know definitely it applies to some. He says, do not remember the past, your childhood. Don't be stuck in the past. That star has set. Yesterday was what? Yesterday's history. Tomorrow's a what? A mystery. And today's a what? Today's the present. Focus on today. Whatever happened before, delete, control bin, recycle bin. Delete again. iPhone, you know when you delete a picture, they have this little recently deleted. Go to recently deleted and delete that too. Whatever happened yesterday, permanent. Whether it's good, whether it's bad. If it's good, all right, you might get complacent and say, oh, I did good yesterday. I prayed Fajr at the masjid. I came to, between Maghrib and Isha on a Friday night, I came to the masjid. I'm good. You get complacent. If it's bad, it might shatter your confidence. You're like, I'm a bad person anyway. So to forget what happened in the past, focus on today. Because today is what matters. Somebody might be doing good for their whole lives. And on the day of their death is when they become good. And the opposite is true. Or when they become bad. And the opposite is true. Somebody might be doing bad his entire life. And on the day of his death, it becomes good. There's one guy who tells a story one time. He says that he's a taxi driver. I earlier met one of the guys who takes people from here to Minneapolis and back. I forget the company name, but I met him earlier today. So he was kind of like that. He used to take people to another city, come back. They call them cadets. So he picked up 3 random strangers. He doesn't know them. He says, this taxi driver, every time Salah comes around, I go to the nearest gas station, I go pray. When I go pray, I tell everybody come pray with me, and then we get food, groceries, all that. We do it one time, gas, everything. Oh, he said Asr time came, and he went in to the gas station, and he wanted to go pray. This is in a Muslim country, so every gas station has a musalla or a masjid or something. He went in, and he told the 3 passengers, there's one guy in the passenger seat, 2 guys in the back. He said, guys, let's go pray. These guys started laughing. They're like, prayer? We don't pray. The guy, he couldn't fathom that a Muslim doesn't pray. He knows that Muslims may be a little lazy. He knows that some Muslims may not pray all the time. But he could not fathom that there is a Muslim who has the audacity to say, I'm not going to pray. He was shocked that the guys were shocked at his reaction. And they're like, what? The guy asked him, why? Why aren't you guys praying? He said, look, let me tell you something. We haven't prayed for 15 years. We haven't prayed for 15 years. He's looking at these guys, they're young. That means they haven't been praying since they were a child. But because of the man's reaction, the guy in the passenger seat, something in his heart was like, Jama'ah, why don't we just go pray today? Let's just go pray. And it looked like he was the ringleader. They're like, okay, they're just going to say whatever he says, right? They're just going to follow him. He's in the passenger seat. He's the Don, right? So they followed him. He went, prayed. Obviously, they're traveling. They prayed 2 rak'ahs. Second sujood. The guy who said, let's go pray, doesn't come back from sujood. They finish the prayer. They look at him, and they're just thinking, yo, this guy hasn't prayed for a long time. He's just probably doing his forgiveness. He's asking Allah for Tawbah, something. Or he's getting used to maybe his knees, something. He forgot how to, something. But then a minute passes by, 2 minutes passes by, 3 minutes passes by. And then they start calling his name, no response. And then all of a sudden they see him turn. The guy was dead. Gone. Guy didn't pray for 15 years. And then he said, I'm not going to pray. 5 minutes later he prayed. He died in his prayer. Think about that. 15 years he didn't pray, but he died in his prayer. What an honorable death. Something was telling him to go pray. And you'll find the opposite. You guys heard the story of Bosiso? A lot of you guys heard it. Who heard of the story of Bosiso? Who hasn't heard of it? Bosiso was a great worshiper. I don't think anybody here can ever get to the level of worship of Bosiso. I don't think so. If I were to put money down, if that was allowed. I don't think anybody could even get. Forget about anybody who's done it. I don't think anybody could get to his level. 70 years, they say in the narrations, that he worshipped Allah Azza wa Jalla. And then, what happened was, these 3 brothers, they were going out to a war, and they had a sister, and they wanted somebody to take care of the sister, but they didn't trust many people. The only guy they trusted was Bosiso. And Bosiso was a monk who lived in the mountains. All he did was worship Allah. He did nothing else. He didn't work. He didn't have family, nothing. Mountains, seclusion, worship all day long. Worship, sleep, worship, sleep, worship, sleep. That's it. Get a little bit of food to survive. That's it. Bare minimum. So he was hesitant at first, but he accepted it. He put her in a different house. You guys know what happened at the end? Little by little, he would bring her food to the door. Little by little, a little chit chat. Little by little, they did the whole thing. Then she got pregnant. He's like, oh, what am I going to do now? Now there's evidence. So what does he do? He's like, I'm going to get rid of the mother and the baby. So he kills both of them. Then he buries them. The 3 brothers come back. And they say, where's our sister? And he says, she died, unfortunately. They're sad. They go back. All 3 of them have a dream that Bosiso killed the sister. When they each woke up, they each said, I had a strange dream. I had a strange dream too. I had a strange dream too. Then they realized there's something going on. So they came to Bosiso, they called the government, they went to go arrest him, and he's facing treason charges. And Shaitan comes to him. He says, listen, I'm the only one that can save you. He said, okay, how are you going to save me? He says, before I tell you how I'm going to save you, you need to do one thing. He said, what is it? Prostrate towards me. Make sujood towards me. He makes sujood towards Iblis. And then Iblis dips. Nowhere to be found. The guy is executed. In 80 or 70 or 80 years of worship of Allah, he committed the top 3 sins. Back to back to back. What's the number one, what's the most evil sin? Associating partners with Allah. He made sujood towards who? Iblis. What's the second worst sin? Murder. He killed 2 innocent souls. Right? The baby and the mother. Or the fetus and the mother. Thirdly, what's the third greatest sin? Zina. He did 3 sins back to back in a few days, and he was executed. Barakallahu feek, 70 years of worship that none of us will ever reach. Gone out the window. So you see both extremes. So does yesterday matter? It don't matter. Does tomorrow matter? Tomorrow you don't know if you're going to be alive. All that matters is right now. So he says here, don't be stuck in the past. Don't be stuck in memory lane. Focus on today. That's the 4th wisdom. Number 5.
إن أهل عيشة قضيتها ذهبت لذاتها والإثم حل واترك الغادة لا تحفل بها تمس في عز رفيع وتوجد.
Wisdom number 5 is, you know, a sin when you commit it, you might feel some type of desire at the time, some type of, you feel good about it. But as soon as you finish that sin, what happens afterwards? You regret. You start regretting. It's something natural. You feel the regret within yourself, and you have a sin on your record. Right? So that's why they say sins are like credit cards. It's easy to swipe. You get $10,000 credit card. Swipe, swipe, swipe. You do everything. You go on vacation. After 30 days, you got to pay that money. If you don't pay that money, what do you got to pay? 30% interest, which is ridiculous. Highest interest rates, right, is on credit cards. So sins are like credit cards. So here he says that do not look at the temporary enjoyment that you're going to get in the sin, but look at the regret and the sins that you're going to accumulate when you commit that sin. Always keep that in the back of your mind. So that is wisdom number 5. Whenever you're about to commit a sin, think about it. Is it worth that desire for me to get all these sins? It's not worth it. That's wisdom number 5. Notice we got 5 wisdoms, right? Wisdom number 6. قال واترك الغادة لا تحفل بها تمسي في عز رفيع وتجل. He goes back to something that he mentioned in the first one. It's very similar, but he kind of approaches it from a different perspective. He says here, do not be around women or the opposite gender, dating them and chit-chatting with them and chilling with them all the time. That is dishonorable for the man and even more dishonorable for the woman. If you want dignity and honor, the opposite gender should only be the person that you marry and the people that are your relatives. Everybody else, keep it what? Keep it short. Right? Don't have any type of relationships. Don't have any relationships with the opposite gender. Not even dating, not even talking. Right? Because look what happened to Bosiso. It all started off with what? Helping her, getting her food, and the rest was history. They say نظرة فابتسامة فسلام فكلام فموعد فلقاء. Starts off with a look, then assalamu alaikum, then in DMs, then talking, then the rest is history. Close that whole bag, unless it's for in halal means. And that is the route to dignity. Humiliation is when you are easily accessible to the opposite gender. It goes both ways. Brothers, you guys got that, sisters. Honor is in not having any relationship with the opposite gender. Keeping it formal. Humiliation, al-dhul, is when you have an easy relation. No.
أحسن الله إليك. والها عن آلة نهو أضربت وعن الأبراد مبتج كفل وافتكر في منتهى حسن الذي أنت تهواه تجد أمرا جلل واتق الله فتقوى الله ما جاورت قلب امرئ إلا وصل.
نعم. قال وافتكر في منتهى حسن الذي أنت تهواه تجد أمرا جلل. Right? He says don't get attached to anything in this dunya. Right? If you get attached to things in this dunya, the matters that you get attached to, your heart is connected to, right? It's going to affect you mentally, it's going to affect you spiritually. So don't get connected to it at all. This is wisdom number what? Wisdom number 6. Don't attach yourself to it. All right? Remember, if that dunyawi matter, the matter that is regarding the dunya, anything that is materialistic, remember that you will face its consequences on the day of judgment. That is number what? Number 6. Number 7. قال وهجر الخمرة إن كنت فتى كيف يسعى في جنون من عقل. Completely abandon intoxicants, drugs, alcohol. What do drugs and alcohol do to you, brothers and sisters? What does it do to you? Changes your entire what? Your brain, your IQ goes less, your healthiness goes less. It destroys you, right? You guys know in the United States they tried to ban alcohol for a year, or was it 2 years? Who remembers? What year was it? Those social studies, history. Who knows? Come on, we're in Ohio. I think you guys are, mashallah, patriots. Huh? 1800s? Or is it 1920s? 1920s, right? Around then. I believe it was the 1920s. If somebody can Google it real quick. 1918 was it? 1920s? It was around then. I don't really have. The United States banned alcohol for like a year or 2 years or some time, and then they went back to it because it decimated society, and it's decimating society still today. He says, don't even get involved in alcohol whatsoever. He says, migrate from it. What hijrah? Hijrah, you know what hijrah is? When you migrate to a whole different city, a whole different country. Don't even think about it. قال واتق الله فتقوى الله ما جاورت قلب امرئ إلا وصل. Wisdom number 8. Do we take number 8 or we take number 7? Number 7? Number 7 is taqwa Allah Azza wa Jalla, fearing Allah Azza wa Jalla. Now you guys might say, okay, we hear this every Jummah, we hear this all the time. Well, what's so special about this wisdom? What does taqwa Allah mean? Who knows? What does taqwa Allah mean? Yes. Consciousness of Allah. What does that mean? Being aware of Allah? No, that's. But what constitutes being aware of Allah? How can you be aware of Allah? By remembering Him? How do you remember Him? What is the best way to be conscious of Allah? Salah is one example. What's a general theme? What's that? Doing all the great actions. Taqwa is doing all the actions that Allah obligated you to do. And secondly, is to stay away from all the prohibitions that Allah prevented you from. These two things help you with the consciousness and awareness of Allah. So he says, anybody who has taqwa of Allah in their hearts, they get connected to Allah. Then he says, probably one of the most famous lines in this poem, قال ليس من يخطع طرقا بطلا إنما من يتق الله البطل. He says, who is the batal? What does batal mean?
A hero.
Huh? The hero? The champ? The one who has rings? Right? The hero is not the one who is a highway robber, the one who's a gangster, a roadman, the one who's cool. He's not a hero. He's not a batal. I feel like hero and batal is not the same. Batal is much higher than hero. Hero sounds a little corny. Batal just has some aura to it. It's different. Arabic and English is different. Hero, I think that's like 70%. It's like hero mixed with magnificence, mixed with some mafia type stuff, right? Al-Batal is the guy who comes in and everybody reads it in the room. That's the Don right there. That's the Batal. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? You know the leader of a gang? That's why he mentions highway robbers. The head of the highway robber, you see the aura that people have around him? It's not that guy. He's not the guy. He's not the goat. Who is it? It's the one who has taqwa. Taqwa is affirming Allah's obligations and doing those obligations and staying away from those things that He prohibited you from. They say, لكن فتى غض طرف أو ثنى بصرا عن الحرام فذاك الفارس البطل. The true batal, and I told you guys hero is not very accurate, but the true batal is the one, it's not the one who's fighting in war. Because when you're fighting in war, what else do you have? What option do you have? You're going to defend yourself, right? If somebody's trying to kill you, what are you going to do? You're going to use all of your energy and your IQ, whatever you can to defend yourself. That's not a real batal. A real batal is the one who has the opportunity to lower their gaze or to look. If you have the discipline to lower your gaze consistently, that is the true batal. Not the one who's in battle. If I tell you right now, run as fast as you can, you might run a 5.2. If I put a line behind you and I tell you to run, you might run a 4.2 and break the record. Right? Maybe. It's possible. I don't know. I'm sure you guys play football here, right? Ohio. Central Ohio. Buckeye State. Right? You guys know what I'm talking about by 4.2, right? Alright, some guys they went left. They get locked out. But anyways, when you put somebody in a position of battle, what happens? These days they've been talking about 100 men versus 1 gorillas, all this stuff, right? They've been talking about all this, right? And I really had, when you put a person in that position, they're going to fight no matter what. But when the person has the opportunity to commit a sin, and he chooses not to, that is a true batal. That is taqwa in their hearts. Now.
صدق الشرع ولا تركن إلى رجل يبسط في الليل سوفا حارت الأفكار في حكمة من قد هدانا سبلنا عز وجل.
So that was taqwa is wisdom number 8. Wisdom number 9. Believe in the Shara. Believe in the divine revelation. And do not believe in Zuhal, which is Saturn, or do not believe in matters that is outside our divine revelation. Allah revealed the Quran. The Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ is basically an explanation and clarification of the Quran. We don't need anything extra to prove. And if you try to use your mind is very limited. If you try to use your mind to comprehend certain matters in life, you won't be able to. How many people can see through that wall right now? You can't see through that wall. How many people can hear me without a microphone? How many people can hear me? Maybe some person in the back can barely hear me. Maybe some people behind that wall, I'm assuming the people behind the wall, right? They probably can't hear me, right? If I take off the mic. Our hearing is limited. Our eyesight is limited. What makes you think our mind is not going to be limited? Our mind is limited. So the Quran and the Sunnah give us everything that we need to know. It is guidance. About 100 years ago, there was a movement in the Muslim countries to secularize the Quran and the Sunnah, kind of like what happened to the Christians. Christians, they modernized their Bible, they modernized religions, they turned into 100 different factions, right? There's a whole strand of Protestantism, which is basically a modernized version of Christianity, right? Even though there might be more fundamentalists in certain areas. You guys with me? There is a movement in the Muslim world to secularize and modernize. Now, it didn't get much, it didn't get anywhere, but it was getting popularity at the time, about 100 years ago. That it actually entered the ranks of the scholars. Now it's mostly constrained to the ranks of the masses, or people who consider themselves pseudo-intellectuals. All right, they think they're intellectuals, but in reality they're not. But it's not common in the scholarly ranks. But it started to enter the scholarly ranks. So what happened? is there was a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. You guys see this water, right? Bismillah. This water here, if a fly enters this water, what did the Prophet ﷺ say? Or a pot of food, what should you do? Dip it. How many guys are going to do that? A lot of you guys are going to be like, I don't know about that. I'm not feeling that. That's a little tough, huh? People might think like that. They're like, that doesn't make any sense. So, some of the scholars, I'll be the minority, they said this hadith goes against the mind. A fly is considered something dirty and annoying. Me dipping it into the water, into the food? No. That hadith is inauthentic. Even though the hadith is in al-Sahih, he completely denied it. In their lifetime, within 20 years, it was scientifically found that what? Every fly has 2 wings, like the Prophet ﷺ said. One that is poisonous, and the other wing is cure. It has its cure. And it's the only cure for it in the entire world. Think about that. And the Prophet ﷺ talked about it 1400 years ago. It's an embarrassment. Actually, that particular incident might have killed that modernization movement. Might have killed it because they lost credit. They denied it. They denied a hadith because they tried to use their logic. The Prophet ﷺ tells us something. He's not speaking in vain. He's speaking in revelation. Right? In huwa illa wahyun yuha. So wisdom number what? 9 is what? Believe in the divine revelation. Now.
كتب الموت على الخلق فكم فل من جيش وأفنى من دول أين نمرود وكنعان ومن ملك الأرض وولى وعزل أين عاد أين فرعون ومن رفع الأهرام من يسمع ويخل أين من سادوا وشادوا وبلغوا هلاك كل ولم تؤمن الأولى.
Now, wisdom number 11. All these lines have like one thing in common. Death. Death will come upon you faster than you think. How many people died in history? How many great armies were destroyed? What's the most famous army to ever get destroyed? About the Romans. Yes. No, that's right now. That's 91. The greatest, like the most famous. Huh? Was that? No, Ottoman. That's not even. Huh? What's that? No, the Mongols. No, I'm saying like in like every tradition. It's like it's like I think it might be at least in the 3 Abrahamic religions. It's like a tradition.
Fir'aun.
Fir'aun wasn't an army. This is a famous battle. Huh? Jalut. What do they call it in English? David and Goliath, right? Who won? David or Goliath? Dawood and Jalut. Who won? Now they call underdogs, what do they call them? Right? Davids. And they call people who are heavy favorites Goliaths, right? It became imagine a whole person that's named after. Imagine that Goliath's army that was supposed to wipe Prophet Dawood alayhi salam off the face of the earth. And that entire army is gone. Gone today. They're nowhere to be found. Right? Imagine all of the, like you just mentioned, Soviet Union. Where are they now? Gone. All right? They were competing with the United States to be number 1 in the world. Gone. How many empires? The Romans, you mentioned the Romans, the Persians, right? Alexander the Great, right? What about the 4 kings who ruled the entire world? There are 4 people who ruled the entire world at one time. Only 4 in history. 2 of them were Muslim, and 2 of them were non-Muslim. Who's the first one? Prophet Sulaiman. Was he Muslim or non-Muslim? Of course, Muslim. Second. Who? What's that? Idris? No, not even close. Yes. No, Dawood. Sulaiman, his son. Got it. Dhul Qarnayn. Dhul Qarnayn, was he Muslim? Dhul Qarnayn was Muslim. And some scholars, they say Dhul Qarnayn was Alexander the Great. Like Al-Imam Fakhruddin al-Razi ibn al-Khatib. He says, he believes that Alexander the Great was Dhul Qarnayn, and he believes that Alexander the Great was a Muslim. And he brings a lot of evidences, even though many of the scholars disagree with him, like Ibn Kathir and Dabi and others. But nevertheless, it's an opinion out there. Who's the third guy? Namrud, excellent. Who's Namrud? Which prophet had a famous encounter with Namrud? Prophet Ibrahim. And the fourth guy? Yes? No, not Canaan. That's Canaan is Namrud's father, right? Or was it Namrud's son? I don't remember, he's related to Namrud, yes. No, not Pharaoh. He's not a known name. He's not a common household name for some reason. But he's a non-Muslim. Bakhantasar or Bakhantasar. There's different ways to pronounce it. He's the fourth king. All four of these kings, what happened to them? They all perished. Even Prophet Sulaiman, alayhi salam. Even the Qarnayn, alayhi salam. Right? Although there's a difference of opinion regarding the Qarnayn. Was he a prophet or was he not? Some say he was a prophet, some say he was a righteous king. Wallahu a'lam. What happened to all these people? Gone. What happened to Ad, the people of Hud? What happened to them? Ad are the original Arabs, by the way. Al-Arab al-Ariba. They're the original Arabs. Gone. Fir'aun, gone. Fir'aun. Whoever went to Egypt. You've seen the mummies, the pharaohs? If you go to the pharaohs, you'll see. And then, you know, when you go in there, you're like, listen, these guys are all Fir'aun. All of them are pharaohs. Which was the one that's mentioned in the Quran? Will you see the actual Fir'aun, the alleged one? If you don't even look at who it is, they say the original Fir'aun, his name was Ramses II. You can just tell by this guy looks like the Fir'aun, the guy who would say, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la. This guy looks like it. Have you been there? He looks like it. He looks different. All other pharaohs, they just look normal. This guy looks like an actual Fir'aun. He looks like a pharaoh. Allah Azza wa Jalla says that we will keep your body until the day of judgment. His body's there, but he has no soul. Right? The pharaohs are the ones who built the pyramids. We're in 2025. Till today, we don't know how the pyramids were built. How did these people build the pyramids? We don't know how. That's how smart these people were. Or they had some type of... How do they do this? We're the most technological advanced, right, part in history. And we still can't figure out how the pyramids are put together. And the pyramids are what? The people who built the pyramids are gone. Those geniuses that build the pyramids, those pharaohs, they're gone. All these people that build all these buildings, right? Skyscrapers, what happened? Who built these skyscrapers? These tallest, the people who built it, a lot of them passed away, they perished. So death is going to come upon you. So why are you acting like you're going to be immortal? You're going to die eventually. And you never know when your time is going to come, so prepare for it.
أين أرباب الحجاء أهل النهى أين أهل العلم وقوم الأول سيعيد الله كلا منهم وسيجزي فاعلا ما قد
And even the Ahl al-Ilm, the people righteous, they're all gone, all of them. Allah will resurrect every single one of them. So just keep in mind, you're going to be gone too. Don't live like in this life as if you're going to stay forever. Live in this life as if you're going to depart. Act like somebody who's in transit. كن في الدنيا كأنك عابر سبيل. If you ever transited in a city, act like that. Have your bags packed, be ready, be strapped all the time. I know. Hey, don't take that the wrong way. You guys know what I mean, huh? Don't take it out of context. Alright. Now.
أي بني اسمع وصايا جماعتك كما خست بها خير البلاد اطلب العلم ولا تكسل فما أبعد الخير على أهل الكسل واهجر النوم وحصنه فمن يعرف المكتوب يحفظ ما بدل.
Now, then wisdom number 11. Wisdom number 11. Seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. Without laziness. And this is a very important advice by Ibn al-Wardī. He says here, seek knowledge without laziness. Laziness, my brothers and sisters, and knowledge, they do not come together. They cannot exist in the same room. If you're lazy, you cannot learn. You have to be somebody who's nashiq, who's very active and energetic. Right? You ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to give you activeness. You cannot be somebody who's lazy, that doesn't work. For ilm to be beneficial, you have to have some type of what? Hirs. You have to have prudence. You have to have, as well as, insane amount of endurance and discipline. Right? And there's nothing that is more detrimental to the seeker of knowledge than al-kasal. I've seen some guys, their IQ is out of this world. But his Achilles heel was that he was lazy. I've seen some guys, they could look at a paper and they have the whole thing photographic memory. 4,800K. Boom. He can memorize. I know a guy who memorized Bulugh al-Maram in 19 days. Brothers, Bulugh al-Maram is a collection of hadiths with 1,500 hadiths. Divide that, do the math. How much is that per day? There's people that just have memories. And you know what the problem with each one was? They were lazy. And I've seen some people, they are not the smartest guy in the world. And they don't have powerful memories, but they had discipline. They were never lazy. And after years of studying, what happened? Allah blessed them. So al-ilm and al-kasal do not come together. The best way for you to learn is to be active and involved. The best ability is what? Availability. Just be available. But you can't be what? MIA. You can't be studying one day and then lazy the other day. You come to class one day, gone another day, you come late one day. No, you gotta be disciplined. So ilm and activeness come together. And that is why Imam Shafi'i, when he advised the seeker of knowledge, what did he say? He advised the seeker of knowledge. I see Sheikh Abdullahi there. See him in the back, mashallah. He's one of the guys that I met when I first started, mashallah. He gave me advice. Shout out to Sheikh Abdullahi. Right? I met him before I started the Jami'ah. And he gave me some advices. You remember Sheikh? Mashallah. I can't be talking in front of him right now. But ala kulli hal, it's good to benefit from those before you. Anyways, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah, what does he say? أخي لن تنال العلم إلا بستة سأنبيك عن تفصيلها ببياني. That you won't learn until you have 6 matters. The first one, ذكاء, and that is cleverness. You have to have a base level of cleverness. Yani you have to be able to comprehend matters. Second is al-hirs, which is prudence. You have to have the mentality. Some people, they don't have the mentality. They're not locked in up here. Thirdly is ijtihad. You have to struggle. This is the discipline that we're talking about here. You can't be lazy. And there's a slight difference between having the mentality and putting in the struggle. Some people, they have the mentality, but they're not willing to be disciplined. Some people, they have the discipline, but their mentality is not there. You have to have both. You have to have some type of finances, and it costs money to study. Books, traveling, all this require money. وَصُحْبَةُ أُسْتَاذٍ, you have to have a mentor. You have to have a teacher that takes you by the hand. You can't do this on your own. Otherwise you're going to be lost. And by the time you figure out everything, 10 years is going to pass by and you didn't learn anything. And the last one is طُولُ زَمَانِ. طُولُ زَمَانِ. What is طُولُ زَمَانِ? A long period. Some guys, they're trying to learn for a little bit. Right? Some guy asked me today, how can I become a scholar in 6 months? Alright? 6 months, a year, I want to become a scholar. That's good. Man, in fact, you got to put in years. You got to put in a lot of time. Yes, a year you can accomplish a lot. It's good to have goals. If you do 6 months, you get somewhere. A year, you get another one. It's good. But it's a long journey. So, wisdom number 11 is what? اطلب العلم ولا تكسر فما بعد الخير وعلى أهل الكسل. نعم.
لا تقل قد ذهبت أربابه كل من سار على الدرب والسلام.
واهجر النوم هذا؟
نعم. واهجر النوم وحسنه فمن يعرف المطلوب يحقر ما بذل.
واهجر النوم وحصله فمن. He says, there's another thing connected to knowledge. You cannot be somebody who's sleeping all the time. He says migrate from sleeping. They tell you sleep 8 hours a day. Yeah, if you want to be a jahil, if you want to be ignorant. You want to learn? You can't be sleeping 8 hours a day. I'm sorry. That's one third that you can't do that. You have to be someone who's up at night. Now you shouldn't kill yourself, but you have to sacrifice sleep. If you can't sacrifice sleep, you can't get anywhere. Right? You have to have love for the thing that you're seeking to the point that you're willing to sacrifice sleep. You get enough to get by. Alright? Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, what does he say? Imam Shafi'i had bars. He was another scholar who combined between jurisprudence and poetry. They're rare to come. Ibn al-Wardī is one of them. Imam Shafi'i is another. Who from the Sahaba was another? Who knows? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ali ibn Abi Talib is so great that half the poetries that are attributed to him is not even his. Because some other guy will make up a line of poetry and just say Ali said it, and it'll get street cred everywhere. That's how great it is. Yeah, and half the things that are attributed to him, he never said it. Right? So Ali ibn Abi Talib, Imam Shafi'i, Ibn al-Wardī, they're a rare combination. They have two qualities that usually don't come together. Imam Shafi'i, what does he say? He says, بِقَدْرِ الْكَدِّ تُكْتَسَبُ الْمَعَالِي وَمَنْ طَلَبَ الْعُلَى سَهِرَ اللَّيَالِ وَمَنْ رَامَ الْعُلَى مِنْ غَيْرِ كَدٍّ أَضَاعَ الْعُمْرَ فِي طَلَبِ الْمَحَالِ. He says that with hard work can you reach success. And whoever wants to reach success, he must be up at night. This is not just for ilm, brothers. This is for anything. Alright? This is for if you want to have a good career, if you want to have good education, if you want to be involved in business, if you want to be an athlete. Right? I heard one of the athletes was being asked the other day. This guy arrives to the gate 10 hours before, and it's just athletics. It's not even that big, it's just a ball. 10 hours before. And they wake up 4 a.m. to train to go to the gym. It's just athletics. Imagine athletics, business, career, studies, anything you want to be successful in, you got to be up at night. You can't be sleeping. Right? He says that whoever thinks they can attain success without sacrificing sleep, good luck. Let me see how that works out for you. Right? He will what? He will waste his time looking for the impossible. Right? He says, Allah al-umra fi talab al-muhal. Right? And then he says, if somebody wants to reach the perils in the ocean, if you want to get the perils in the ocean, what do you have to do?
Dive deep.
You have to swim, right? Imagine if you say, I'm not going to swim. يَغُوصُ الْبَحْرَ مَنْ طَلَبَ اللَّآلِ. He says, the sea will drown the one who's looking for the perils. Meaning, if you try to get success and sleep, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to drown. Because there's got people that don't want success. They just want to live a mundane life. They can sleep. They took a W because they know they failed. There's people, they're willing to put in the sacrifice. And then there's people that drown in the middle. They think they want the success, but they don't want to put in the work. Those are the most dangerous people. Because they harm themselves and they harm the people around them. If you want to be successful in anything in life, you got to sacrifice sleep. Right? If you know what you are looking for, you are going to belittle certain things in life that come around a lot. Eating, sleeping, all these little things that people find pleasure in, you're not going to look at it as much. If you have a bigger goal. Especially when it comes to seeking. Now, that was number what? Number 11 is to sacrifice sleep. Number 12. Some people, they just give up. They're like, you know what, this is 2025, we have AI, ChatGPT. You know, everything's life is easy. I don't need to work as hard. Everything's easy in front of me. The people that are there, number 12, right? This is number 12.
No, sleep was 12.
Sleep is 12, this is 13. This. The people that are before us, you're thinking these people are too high. They are not what? I can't get to their level. Never say that to yourself. You can get to anybody's level. The only people you can't get to their level are who? The prophets of the Sahaba. Everybody else is fair game. You try to emulate them. You try to get to their level. And then this is one of the most famous lines of the poem. Remember we said, لَيْسَ مَنْ يَخْضَعْ قُرُقًا بَطَلًا إِنَّمَا مَنْ يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ Batla, that's one of the more famous lines, right? This is another line that is famous. كل من سار على الدرب وصل. Whoever takes the same recipe, he'll reach the same destination. Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, he's giving all these advices. He's giving free money. He's giving you free knowledge. He's telling you this is the recipe of success. He's giving you on an open platter. He's telling you take it. Literally, all you have to do is copy and paste. You just got to implement it. He's telling you how to do it. He said, I reached it in this way. You can reach it too. But unfortunately, most people, they just don't have the discipline. They don't have the grit. They don't have the mentality. They don't have the prudence. They don't have the patience, the discipline, the perseverance, the determination. Nothing. So never tell yourself, the people before me, I can never reach their level. Matter of fact, you should say what? I'm going to reach their level and I'm gonna pass them. No.
صلى الله عليك. في ازدياد العلم إرغام العدا وجمال العلم إصلاح العمل.
نعم. قال في ازدياد العلم إرغام العدا وجمال العلم إصلاح العمل. He says, and perhaps we end with this because timing is close, right? What time is it right now? 10:27. We got 3 minutes, right? We got 3 minutes.
Yes.
Correct? Yes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes or 30? I was told 10:30. 10:40?
أذان بحاول تدعي 47.
So 10:30 or 10:40?
10:40.
Let's go with the elder, what he says. Yes. Okay, إقامة ما تشوفنا بس هذاك. 2 minutes. 10:30 and 10:32. 10:38 and 10:40. So we have 15 minutes, right? All right.
10 minutes.
13 minutes. طيب. Where are we at? He said في ازدياد العلم إرغام العدا وجمال العلم إصلاح العمل. Wisdom number 14. That with the increase of knowledge and education, you will defeat the enemies. Nations are built by education. Education is what builds a nation, nothing else. If you want to defeat the enemies around you, bolster your education, bolster your knowledge. Education leads to an identity. If you have a society of ignorant people, you know what will happen? What will happen? Like what happens back home, right? A bunch of ignorant people, right? But if we have a society of educated people, education, religious knowledge, and worldly knowledge, combination of both is important, you can defeat your enemies. People just like to say, oh, it's always outside. Outside factors never destroy a nation. It's inside that destroys it, then outside takes advantage. But if inside have good education, then they will get somewhere. And this is proven in history. Anybody who's been on top, they had a better education. The average person, their education was higher than in that particular civilization than other societies. So Ibn al-Wardī, he's telling us, listen, the recipe to going back to glory is in knowledge. We should invest into knowledge and education. Knowledge and education is the best that you can invest in. Money comes and goes. Time comes and goes. Knowledge, you only have one opportunity to learn. Knowledge reciprocates. Knowledge what? It goes down. It doesn't just go up. Money might go up and it never comes back. It might go sideways, especially in our society. Money just keeps going. Every time there's a new fundraiser, right? There's a family issue, there's this, there's that, right? Time, everybody's getting up there in age. Knowledge will outlast you. They say, al-kitab al-walad al-mukhallad. The book is your long-lasting child. Look at Ibn al-Wardī. Ibn al-Wardī, did he ever think that his book was going to be explained in the middle of Columbus, Ohio? He didn't even know this part of the world existed at the time. Think about that. And we're explaining his book and saying, Rahimahullah. Think about that, brothers. It's outlasting. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that only 3 things outlast us. What is it? Sadaqah tujari, continuous charity, like a masjid, or a well, or an orphanage. الثانية is علم ينتفع به, knowledge that is benefited from. And the third one is ولد صالح يدعو له, a righteous child that makes dua for you. The hadith is narrated by Muslim. And the scholars, they say ilm technically goes into all three. Because ilm is sadaqah jari in the sense when you share it. Because it's continuous charity. You give free knowledge to someone, that's charity, and then you pass it on to someone. So it just becomes, right? And then the second one is ilm, that's obvious. And the third one is waladun salih. They say a walad could be your actual son, and it could be a student as well. A student could carry on, and that student makes dua for you. Like we are students of al-Wardī right now. We're studying his poem. They say knowledge goes into all three, but the other ones may not go into the other. So the best thing you can invest, the highest ROI, return of investment, that you can get in this life is what? It's ilm. Because it's guaranteed returns. Passive income after your death. So it will lead to an entire cultivation of entire society. So this is a message to everyone here: invest into your education, inshallah. Don't ever let ChatGPT and AI ever replace education. You still need to learn. That the beautiness of knowledge is by coupling it with what? Acting upon it. Knowledge without actions is like trees without fruits. A tree without fruits, does it have any benefit? Maybe you can use it as a shade. It might have some benefits. But the true tree that has benefits is the one that has fruits. So if we want to beautify our knowledge, we have to act upon it. Knowledge and acting upon knowledge are two wings of a bird. Two wings of a bird. A bird, for it to fly, it has to have two wings. You have to have two wings. No.
أحسن الله إليك. جمل المنطق بالنحو فمن يحرم الإعراب بالنطق هبل منذ الشعر ولازم الذهبي اضطراح واختلاف ليس أحد.
قال جمل المنطق بالنحو فمن يحرم الإعراب بالنطق اختبل. He says that make sure you speak in the right form. Meaning, especially in Arabic, but this applies to all languages, that a Muslim should strive to be someone who speaks eloquently, that you shouldn't make grammatical mistakes. You guys with me, right? This first thing is obviously Arabic. We have some people who stand up in this minbar over here and they start off by saying, Inna alhamdulillah. That khutbah, I don't know, there needs to be a little bit problematic because he didn't learn nahu. Nahu is the way to speak, alright? The grammatical way to speak and to write. The ending of each letter. He says you cannot be someone who's making mistakes in nahu. And the same goes for every language. If your Somali is terrible, go fix up your Somali. How are you going to speak to the elders in your family? How are you going to claim your Somali? You can't speak Somali. Go to the back home, go there for 3 months. You grew up in the States and your English is rubbish. You can't even spell it. You can't spell anything. Think about that. You grew up here, you can't even speak English. A Muslim should be eloquent in any language. Your original language, the language in the country you live in, and obviously Arabic, which is the language of the Quran and Sunnah. Every language you should be what? Eloquent in it to the best of your ability. Obviously, you might have something that is more stronger than others. People have different backgrounds, different times. But you should at least strive for it. He says, Jammil al-mantiq, beautify your speech, bin nahu, with grammar. Because if you don't have grammar, khalas, like it's just, like somebody starts their khutbah off in the wrong, it's just, khalas, it doesn't work. The right shot, right? A lot of they just tap off, right? With the chowder, you know what I'm talking about. That is khalas, right? So anyways, there's a story, they say, al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik. You guys heard of al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik? Al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik ibn Marwan ibn al-Hakam. From Banu Umayyah, he ruled from 86 to 96. He's the son of Abdul Malik ibn Marwan. Al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik, he was Al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik was the crown prince at the time. He's the Wali al-Ahd. His father, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, is alive. Now, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan was very eloquent. Matter of fact, before he even became Khalifa, he was a scholar actually. A lot of people don't know that. He was one of the fuqaha of Medina. Right? And I believe al-Asma'i is the one who said that أَرْبَعَةٌ لَمْ يَلْحَنُوا فِي جِدٍّ وَلَا هَزَلٍ. 4 people, they never made a mistake. Not in seriousness or playing around. He said Abdul Malik al-Marwan and al-Hajjaj. Right? He mentioned those two and two others. Abdul Malik al-Marwan was one of 4 people who never made a mistake in language. Abad, he never made a mistake. One time his son, who's the crown prince, was next in line to become the Khalifa. He goes to Medina. And he stands on the minbar. And you know what he says? He says, Ya Ahlul Medina. The entire Medina loses it. Ya Ahlul Medina, you just don't say that like this. You're supposed to say Ya Ahlul Medina. It's Munada, right? Mansub, right? Bil-Idafa. The entire Medina loses it. They're like, who is this guy who's speaking like this? This guy's gonna be the next Khalifa. An emergency letter is sent to his father, the sitting Khalifa in Damascus, which is a month's travel away. But they send what? They send these fast horses that in which he receives the messages in days. It's usually a month's travel. It reaches al-Walīd ibn Abdul Malik, Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, the father. Abdul Malik ibn Marwan, he calls an emergency meeting with Shuyukh al-Qaba'il, with the leaders of the tribes. He calls the entire council. And he says, I am deposing my son from the entire post. Who do you guys suggest to be the next guy in line? Because of a mistake he said on the minbar. That's how people used to take mistakes serious. The entire city went bonkers. The crown prince, he lost respect. Nobody's giving him salam, nobody's going to him. Everybody's like, this guy is nothing. I'm talking about the importance of education and language and linguistics. Alright? So, brothers and sisters, that is wisdom number what? 15? 14? Wisdom number 14, make sure you work on your what? Language skills. All 3 languages. And if you can add more languages, even better. But I would say, for the majority of the people here, you got to have at least those 3 languages.